Nowruz is the name of the Iranian New Year, also known as the Persian New Year, which is celebrated worldwide by the Iranians and Turkic peoples, along with some other ethno-linguistic groups. As the beginning of the new year, it has been celebrated for over 3,000 years in Western Asia, Central Asia, the Caucasus, the Black Sea Basin and the Balkans. It marks the first day of the first month, Farvardin, in the Iranian calendar. Nowruz is the day of the vernal equinox, and marks the beginning of spring in the northern hemisphere. It usually occurs on the 21st of March or the previous or following day, depending on where it is observed. The moment the sun crosses the celestial equator and equalizes night and day is calculated exactly every year, and families gather together to observe the rituals. Although having Iranian and religious Zoroastrian origins, Nowruz has been celebrated by people from diverse ethno-linguistic communities for thousands of years. It is a secular holiday for most celebrants that is enjoyed by people of several different faiths, but remains a holy day for Zoroastrians. Etymology: the term Nowruz is a Persian compound word, consisting of the words now and ruz. Now, Old Persian, nava, which means new, and descends from Proto-Indo-European ***os, is cognate with English new, German neu, Latin novus, Russian novij and Sanskrit nava. Ruz, which means day, in modern Persian, is descended from Proto-Iranian ***rulka, itself derived from Proto-Indo-European ***luk. The original meaning of the word, however, was light. It is related to Armenian lois, English light, Latin lux, Sanskrit rusi and Slovenian luk. Regional variations in pronunciation: the Persian pronunciation differs in the many dialects of the language, while the Eastern dialects have preserved the diphthong now. The Western dialects usually pronounce it with the diphthong now, and some colloquial variants, such as the Tehrani accent, pronounce it with a long monophthong. Spelling variations: a variety of spelling variations for the word Nowruz exist in English language usage. Random House, unabridged, provides the spelling Nowruz. Merriam-Webster, 2006, recognizes only the spelling Nowruz, and a contestant in the final session of the 2006 Scripps National Speaking Bee in the United States, Ali and Salvador, was disqualified on that basis. History and origin: ancient roots. Although it is not clear whether Proto-Indo-Iranians celebrated a feast as the first day of the calendar, there are indications that Iranians may have observed the beginning of both autumn and spring, respectively related to the harvest and the sowing of seeds, for the celebration of the new year. Mary Boyce and France Grenet explain the traditions for seasonal festivals and comment: it is possible that the splendor of the Babylonian festivities at this season led the Iranians to develop their own spring festival into an established New Year feast, with the name Navasada, New Year, a name which, though first attested through Middle Persian derivatives, is attributed to the Achaemenian period, since the communal observations of the ancient Iranians appear in general to have been seasonal ones, and related to agriculture. It is probable that they traditionally held festivals in both autumn and spring, to mark the major turning points of the natural year. Nowruz is partly rooted in the tradition of Iranian religions, such as Mithraism and Zoroastrianism. In Mithraism, festivals had a deep linkage with the sun's light. The Iranian festivals such as Megan, autumnal equinox, Tirgan, and the eve of Chelyabinsk, winter solstice, also had an origin in the sun god, Surya, among other ideas. Zoroastrianism is the first monotheistic religion that emphasizes broad concepts such as the corresponding work of good and evil in the world, and the connection of humans to nature. Zoroastrian practices were dominant for much of the history of ancient Iran. In Zoroastrianism, the 7 most important Zoroastrian festivals are the 6 Gahumbar festivals and Nowruz, which occurs at the spring equinox. According to Mary Boyce, it seems a reasonable surmise that Nowruz, the holiest of them all, with deep doctrinal significance, was founded by Zoroaster himself. Although there is no clear date of origin, 54. Between sunset on the day of the 6th Gahambar and sunrise of Nowruz, Hamasbath Midaya, later known, in its extended form, as Farwardinigan, and today known as Farvadigan, was celebrated. This and the Gahambars are the only festivals named in the surviving text of the Avesta. The 10th century scholar Biruni, in his work Kitab al-Tafhim li Sinat al-Tanjim, provides a description of the calendars of various nations. Besides the Iranian calendar, various festivals of Greeks, Jews, Arabs, Sabians, and other nations are mentioned in the book. In the section on the Iranian calendar, he mentions Nowruz, Sadr, Tirgan, Megan, the 6 Gahambars, f. The 10th century scholar Biruni, in his work Kitab al-Tafhim li Sinat al-Tanjim, provides a description of the calendars of various nations. Besides the Iranian calendar, various festivals of Greeks, Jews, Arabs, Sabians, and other nations are mentioned in the book. In the section on the Iranian calendar, he mentions Nowruz, Sadr, Tirgan, Megan, the 6 Gahambars, Farvadigan, Barmania, Esfon Armaz, and several other festivals. According to him, it is the belief of the Iranians that Nowruz marks the first day when the universe started its motion. 55. The Persian historian Gardazi, in his work titled Zayn al-Akbar, under the section of the Zoroastrians' festivals, mentions Nowruz among other festivals, and specifically points out that Zoroaster highly emphasized the celebration of Nowruz and Megan. Achaemenid period A bas-relief at the Apadana, Persepolis, depicting Armenians bringing their famous ain to the king. It has been suggested that the famous Persepolis complex, or at least the Palace of Apadana and the 100 Columns Hall, were built for the specific purpose of celebrating a feast related to Nowruz. Although there may be no mention of the term Nowruz in recorded Achaemenid inscriptions, there is a detailed account by Xenophon of a Nowruz celebration taking place in Persepolis and the continuity of this festival in the Achaemenid tradition. It was an important day during the time of the Achaemenids, c. 550 to 330 BC, where kings from different nations under the Achaemenid Empire used to bring gifts to the King of Kings of Iran. The significance of the ceremony in the Achaemenid Empire was such that King Cambyses II's appointment as the King of Babylon was legitimized only after his participation in the referred annual Achaemenid festival. It was, therefore, a highly auspicious occasion for the ancient Iranian peoples. In 539 BC, the Jews came under Iranian rule, thus exposing both groups to each other's customs. According to the Encyclopaedia Britannica, the story of Purim as told in the Book of Esther is adapted from an Iranian novella about the shrewdness of harem queens, suggesting that Purim may be transformation of the Iranian New Year. 61. A specific novella is not identified, and Encyclopaedia Britannica itself notes that no Jewish texts of this genre from the Persian period are extant, so these new elements can be recognized only inferentially. The Encyclopedia of Religion and Ethics notes that the Purim holiday is based on a lunar calendar, while Nowruz occurs at the spring equinox, solar calendar. The two holidays are therefore celebrated on different dates but within a few weeks of each other, depending on the year. Given their temporal associations, it is possible that the Jews and Iranians of the time may have shared or adopted similar customs for these holidays. The story of Purim as told in the Book of Esther has been dated around 625 to 465 BC, although the story takes place with the Jews under the rule of the Achaemenid Empire and the Jews had come under Iranian rule in 539 BC. While Nowruz is thought to have first been celebrated between 555 to 330 BC, it remains unclear which holiday was established first. Arsacid and Sassanid periods. Nowruz was the holiday of Arsacid dynastic empires who ruled Iran 248 to 224 CE, and the other areas ruled by the Arsacid dynasties outside of Parthia, such as the Arsacid dynasties of Armenia and Iberia. There are specific references to the celebration of Nowruz during the reign of Vologases I, 51 to 78 CE, but these include no details. Before Sassanids established their power in Western Asia around 300 CE, Parthians celebrated Nowruz in autumn, and the first of Farvardin began at the autumn equinox. During the reign of the Parthian dynasty, the spring festival was Megan, a Zoroastrian and Iranian festival celebrated in honor of Mithra. Extensive records on the celebration of Nowruz appear following the accession of Ardashir I, the founder of the Sasanian Empire, 224 to 651 CE. Under the Sassanid emperors, Nowruz was celebrated as the most important day of the year. Most royal traditions of Nowruz, such as royal audiences with the public, cash gifts, and the pardoning of prisoners, were established during the Sassanid era and persisted unchanged until modern times. After the Muslim conquest, Nowruz, along with Sadr, celebrated in midwinter, survived in society after the Muslim conquest of Iran in 650 CE. Other celebrations such as the Gahambars and Megan were eventually sidelined or were only followed by the Zoroastrians who carried them. It was adopted as the main royal holiday during the Abbasid period. In the book Nowruz, Book of the New Year, which is attributed to Omar Khayyam, a well-known Persian poet and mathematician, a vivid description of the celebration in the courts of the kings of Iran is provided. From the era of Kai Khosrau till the days of Yazdegerd, last of the pre-Islamic kings of Iran, the royal cust. In the book Nowruz, Book of the New Year, which is attributed to Omar Khayyam, a well-known Persian poet and mathematician, a vivid description of the celebration in the courts of the kings of Iran is provided. From the era of Kai Khosrau till the days of Yazdegerd, last of the pre-Islamic kings of Iran, the royal custom was thus: on the first day of the new year, Nowruz, the king's first visitor was the high Mobid of the Zoroastrians, who brought with him as gifts a golden goblet full of wine, a ring, some gold coins, a fistful of green sprigs of wheat, a sword, and a bow. In the language of Iran, he would then glorify God and praise the monarch. This was the address of the high Mobid to the king: O Majesty, on this feast of the equinox, first day of the first month of the year, seeing that thou hast freely chosen God and the faith of the ancient ones, may Sreosha, the angel messenger, grant thee wisdom and insight in sagacity in thy affairs. Live long in praise. Be happy and fortunate upon thy golden throne, drink immortality from the cup of Jamshid, and keep in solemn trust the customs of our ancestors, the noble aspirations, fair gestures and the exercise of justice and righteousness. May thy soul flourish, may thy youth be as the new-grown grain, may thy horse be puissant, victorious, thy sword bright and deadly against foes, thy hawk swift against its prey, thy every act straight as the arrow's shaft. Go forth from thy rich throne, conquer new lands. Honor the craftsman and the sage in equal degree, disdain the acquisition of wealth. May thy house prosper and thy life be long. Following the demise of the Caliphate and the subsequent re-emergence of Iranian dynasties such as the Samanids and Buyids, Nowruz was elevated to an even more important event. The Buyids revived the ancient traditions of Sasanian times and restored many smaller celebrations that had been eliminated by the Caliphate. According to the Syrian historian Yaqut al-Hamawi, the Iranian Buyid ruler Azad-ud-Dawla r. 949–83 customarily welcomed Nowruz in a majestic hall, wherein servants had placed gold and silver plates and vases full of fruit and colorful flowers. The king would sit on the royal throne, Masnad, and the court astronomer came forward, kissed the ground, and congratulated him on the arrival of the new year. The king would then summon musicians and singers, and invited his boon companions. They would gather in their assigned places and enjoy a great festive occasion. Even the Turkish and Mongol invaders did not attempt to abolish Nowruz in favor of any other celebration. Thus, Nowruz remained as the main celebration in Iranian lands by both the officials and the people. Contemporary era before the collapse of the Soviet Union. Iran was the only country that officially observed the ceremonies of Nowruz. When the Caucasian and Central Asian countries gained independence from the Soviets, they also declared Nowruz as a national holiday. The UN's General Assembly recognized the International Day of Nowruz in 2010, describing it as a spring festival of Iranian origin, which has been celebrated for over 3,000 years. During the meeting of the Intergovernmental Committee for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Heritage of the United Nations, held between the 28th of September and the 2nd of October 2009, Nowruz was officially registered on the UNESCO list of the Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity. In response to the UN recognition, Iran unveiled a postage stamp. The stamp was made public in the presence of the Iranian president during the first international Nowruz celebrations in Tehran on Saturday the 27th of March 2010. The second international Nowruz celebrations were also held in Tehran in 2011. The third international Nowruz celebrations were held in Dushanbe, Tajikistan, on March 25, 2012, with Tajik president and his Iranian and Afghan counterparts in attendance. The next international ceremonies to celebrate Nowruz were scheduled to be hosted by Turkmenistan. Locality. The festival of Nowruz is celebrated by many groups of people in the Black Sea Basin, the Balkans, the Caucasus, Western Asia, Central and Southern Asia, and by Iranians worldwide.